Hello, hello, hello. It is Cassandra Terry. Welcome to the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. Today is one of my favorite days of the week. It's Thankful Thursday. On Thankful Thursday, we focus on gratitude. So we are still gathering. I had Mr. Content, Brian, was with me, but I think he lost connection. So the rest of the Fam Five will be filtering in as they get here. However, I did not want to keep you guys waiting. So we will go ahead and get started with our Thankful Thursday. So, let's see, let me tell you what our quote is for the day. It is: in daily life, we must see that it's not happiness that makes us grateful, but gratefulness that makes us happy. And that's Brother David Steindl. Let me let Brian in. I see him in the waiting area. Good morning, Brian. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, just got started and I was sharing the quote. I'll read that again. In daily life, we must see that it is not happiness that makes us grateful, but gratefulness that makes us happy. And that's Brother David Steindl. So, I think part of his name is cut off, so it might be Steinley. But it really talks about the order of things and how we work, how we're wired. If we are focused on what we have, if we are focused on abundance, our what we are grateful for versus the things that we don't have, the default to that is happiness. The default is happiness. We can't wait for happiness in order to become grateful. We will be forever chasing that elusive happiness. And me, I really prefer joy over happiness, because happiness can be fleeting. It can be associated to events and things in life, and but joy, when you are actually joyful, you're joyful despite what's going on externally. That can't be taken away. If you're a person with a joyful spirit, you are that all the time. Even when things are not quite working out the way you would like, if you are joyful, you hang on to that. Yeah, the happiness may ebb and flow, but joy is with you always if you allow yourself to get to that state. I see we've got some folks with us this morning from LinkedIn. Good morning, Sonia. Conchita says, greetings on this thankful Thursday. It's going to be an awesome day. Conchita, it is. And the reason it's going to be an awesome day is because you have decided that it's going to be an awesome day. You've declared that it is going to be an awesome day. You set that intention. And what we believe to be will be. Who we believe we are is how we're going to show up. So, in all of your awesomeness and my favorite word, fabulosity, thank you for setting the tone for you and for those who have the pleasure of encountering you. You have set the tone for an awesome day. And that's something to be grateful for. Good morning, Grace. Grace says, I'm glad to be here. Joy over happiness. Fire. Yes. Yes. Joy over happiness. Conchita says, yes, yes, yes. So, the way that you can start to work on your gratitude, which will lead you to that happiness and eventually to joy, is just making it a practice. It's a way of life. It's a state of mind. It's also a practice. It's a tool. You can begin each day with gratitude. What are you grateful for? It's just a thought. You just have to train your mind to think about it throughout your day. As the day starts to wane and you start to get a little tired and life starts to happen and you feel yourself kind of sliding into that other space where you're not at your best, you could just stop for a moment and think about what you're grateful for. In your relationships, a lot of times we get so tangled up in a particular argument or something that we forget what that person means to us. Sometimes winning the argument is not it is not the important thing. It's more important to conserve your relationships. So when you're tangled up with somebody emotionally, just stop for a moment and think about what is it about this person that I'm grateful for? And it'll change your point of view. It'll start to soften you. And because you're thinking about them in the realm of gratitude, it may really change how that conversation continues to unfold. Gratefulness, gratitude can change any situation at any time. Just pull it out. Keep it with you. It's free. The more you give, the more you will have. So at any point in time, you can just stop for a moment and ask yourself, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for in life? What am I grateful for in this relationship? What am I grateful for in this moment? The job's getting on your nerves, they're driving you crazy. You can just ask yourself for a moment, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? And shift your thinking. I just had to do that the other day. I was getting frustrated. There was just so much going on. Didn't seem like there was enough time to think, and I was so frustrated. And truth be told, I would love to do this all day, right? I would love to be interacting with you guys. I would love to be working on my business. And then I had to stop and think for a moment and remember the comfort, the security, the credibility. There's all sorts of things that my job provides for me. And so I just needed a moment to remind myself of those things so that I didn't allow that negative feeling to take root and really take control. So at any point in time when you're not feeling your best in a particular situation, it's not about pushing down when things are outside your comfort zone, your boundaries have been pressed, those sorts of things. But it's about maintaining a certain joy. We talked about that just a little bit ago. A certain joy in your life, keeping yourself under control to a certain extent so that you're able to keep processing, to keep thinking, to work your way through. Great gratitude is an amazing tool. It's an amazing tool. And it will take any situation, calm the spirit a bit, calm the nerves and the emotions a bit, and allow you to have a little bit of space to really think and process so that the next thing you say, the next move that you make will be something that will be to your advantage and not some knee-jerk reaction because you're all frustrated. So I'll read the quote again, and then I'm going to pitch it over to you, Brian, if you're in a place where you can speak. In daily life, we must see that it is not happiness that makes us grateful, but it's gratefulness that makes us happy. When you hear that, Brian, what comes to mind? We just lost Brian, Eric. Were you able to hear the quote?
I was, and it made me think about an unfortunate situation that happened to me yesterday. First, let me say good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Grand Rising. Um,
Grand Risings, brother.
Yesterday, I learned from my bank that a check that I accepted from a client um, did not have funds. And so I was extremely disappointed to know that um, I would not be receiving the $2,000 in which I'd earned, and so just incredibly disappointing. But choosing, like the quote says, choosing to be grateful about what I have and and what I'm appreciative of, and allowing that energy to move me versus that disappointment. Yes, that was a disappointment. Yes, that was services rendered that I was not compensated for, but that's okay. God has a plan. Those services did not go unutilized or unappreciated, and thus I was a tool in His kingdom, and thus that will come around. We'll figure that out, and so I'm not going to push into that negative energy. 24-hour rule. I'm gonna flush that, let that go, and be grateful that I'm with my fam five, that I'm on the Cassandra Terry morning show, that I have a sister, Denise, that is in Grenada representing us and representing herself in such an amazing way, that I have a brother, Jay. Those are things that I have to be grateful for. And so I'm choosing to be grateful over those minor frustrations that, a year from now, I won't even remember that. there'll be so many blessings, so many other things that we're taking advantage of, the books we're working on, the workshops we're working on. There's too much, far too much to be appreciative for, to be um, bogged down by negativity. Um, my grandmother would say, "This too shall pass," right? This too shall pass, right? So
Well, I
leave
am
you with Granny's
sorry.
words.
I'm sorry that that happened to you, and hopefully they will make good on their promise. But I'm also very glad that you're taking the high road, and that because when you think about a situation like that, Eric, if you're mad and angry and allow that to shape your day, the check still won't go through. If you decide to take the high road and to keep taking care of you and doing the right things for you, it's not, that's the only positive right now that you can pull out of that situation, because what you do will not change what they have done. They can make good or not, out of your control, and choose. And sometimes we forget the only thing that we truly have control over is us, our thoughts, our responses. So they have restitution to make for promises not followed through upon. But you've done your part. Like you said, you gave what you contracted to give, and they're better for it. And hopefully they will, right their wrong. But no matter what, how you respond to it wouldn't change the situation yesterday. And it's a great example. I appreciate the transparency and you using, a real live scenario that most of us have been in at some point in time, on one end of it or the other. And sometimes it just a, bad math. You forget about that swipe that you did, or that standing monthly thing, recurring bill that you forget about. So sometimes things, they all hit at the same time, and you didn't plan it out well. So
And this is what we'll
hopefully.
be talking about at our workshop, me and Denise, at the end of the month. And so I'm glad that it was also an opportunity we'll be able to convert into a real situation that we can talk about and use as a case study for, how do we take that L and turn it into our next W?
Hmm. And that's a perfect topic, and something for entrepreneurs to be prepared for. So when you guys are talking about the EQ for entrepreneurs, home based entrepreneurs, that is a great segment to cover, because things like that are going to happen. But you also still have your brand, you still have your business, you still have your reputation. So how you respond when things don't go as planned can either build or break your brand. And if for the individual, just replace brand with reputation. If you don't consider yourself a brand, which I do, I think we all show up some way and we get known for things. So personal branding is real. But if you're not interested in, that space, just think about your reputation. How you respond when things don't go well is speaks more to your reputation and character than how you respond when things go right. It's easy to be good when it's good, but how do you respond when things are not going so well? Those are the things. You never know who's watching, but it definitely has an effect on your brand. It has an effect on you as a person. How you show up, it can have an effect on your business. So that is a great example, Eric. And how we show up and pulling out gratitude and thinking about the things that you're grateful for when you've been somewhat wronged, is a great use of gratitude, because it will help you respond better. We've had a few more comments come through, so let's take a look at those. Welcome, Jay. Welcome back, Brian. So we've got 4 of the fam 5 here now. Harry said, carry a few Benjamins in your pocket, makes your psyche joyful. Lisa said, good morning, fam 5. Sonia, I just love the overwhelming support for each of the fam 5. The team always compliment each other. We are fam. We are definitely family. We are. So we can't even help ourselves, Sonia, but thank you for that. Michael said, gratitude is a powerful force that brings joy and positivity into our lives, sending warm Greetings to Cassandra Terry and Eric Clark and Brian Smart. Your guidance on cultivating gratitude is truly inspiring. Thank you for reminding us of the importance of appreciating the blessings we have and for guiding us towards a more fulfilling and grateful mindset. Thank you, Michael. We appreciate that. I'm glad you picked up on all of that. We are grateful for you and for each one of you guys that are sharing with us this morning. I'm grateful that the brothers are here with me. We've heard from Eric already, and I see Brian is in his office and ready to go. So, Brian, do you remember the quote, or do you want me to run through it one more time?
Yeah, run through it one more time. I believe I remember. I remember my response anyway.
I'll read it once more. It says, "In daily life, we must see that it's not happiness that makes us grateful, but it's gratefulness that makes us happy."
That's awesome. I was watching a show last night. I forgot what the name of the movie was, but there was a scene in the movie where the guy was referencing his hometown, and he
Mm-hmm.
said he made one quote in the whole throughout the whole movie in that one scene. In my
Mm-hmm.
town, we don't even have a word for winning. We
For
don't have
winning.
a word for winning. In
Wow.
his town, it's so bad that they don't have a word for win. There's no word in the vocabulary for the action of winning. And I started to
Wow.
think about that. I said what you said. I said, wow, they don't even know, they don't even expect to win. They have no expectancy. They have no idea. They have no comprehension. So when you think about being thankful, be thankful for all that stuff that you can't see, right? For the
Mm-hmm.
fact that you wake up every day feeling like you're in control of the day. You can conquer this day. That in itself is something to be thankful for being able
Absolutely.
to know what winning is, for being able to know what failure is, right? Because how you going to know what winning is without knowing what failure is? So you have to appreciate all of it. And when I'm
Exactly.
thankful, I'm thankful for everything. I'm thankful for the good and the bad, and being able to know the difference. Jay always quotes different scriptures from the Bible, and I love you for that, brother. I wish I could. I wish I could do it like that, but I do know the foundational principles that he speaks about when he makes those quotes. So it hits home every single time, right? I grew up a PK, and
Mhm.
I'd like to say now I'm turning into a P, right?
Mhm.
As much as I'm trying to avoid it, there's not really a lot I can do about it because that's where our help come from. And when you accept that, your whole sense of gratitude starts to change. Everything that you do starts to revolve around being grateful for all of the things that you can't see. And when I heard that last night, I said, man, I'm gonna talk about that in the show tomorrow. I gotta bring that up. I don't know how I'm gonna tie it in because that was before you gave the quote. I said, I don't know how I'm gonna tie it in, but I'm bringing that in. You have in your possession uh the word win. You know what winning is. That's something to be grateful for. That's what I'm grateful for.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brian. That's awesome. Josh, good morning. Conchita said, "Preach, Brian." And I think she might have wrote that even before you talked about PK. And Camille said, "Good morning, all. Lovely to see your faces." And let me actually put the quote up there for a moment and let everybody see it. In daily life, we must see that it is not happiness that makes us grateful, but gratefulness that makes us happy. Now I can see his full name, Brother David Steindl-Rast. So, Jay, before I pitch it to you, I told you guys last night I have to get downtown for a conference. So I need to call my Uber and grab my bag. And so I'm going to be listening in the background, but I'm going to mute and turn the camera off so I'm not late for today's activities. So I am grateful for each and every one of you. Michael, I am extremely grateful for you. I've noticed that ever since you started helping me out as my virtual assistant, my numbers are going up. I'm getting the graphics that you've been providing are getting really good feedback. So I'm definitely grateful for you and what you're pouring into my business. I am grateful for you guys, the Fam Five. I can get up and leave And I know that the show and everyone who's watching is in good, capable hands. And I'm grateful for you guys who consistently show up day in and day out and support me and the Fam Five, and give us your comments, and your support and your love is all much appreciated. So I am getting ready to pitch it over to Jay, and I'm going to let him and the rest of the brothers take the rest of the show however they see fit. And I will be listening in the background so I can get downtown and get the rest of my day going. So you guys take it over, Jay, and however y'all feel like running with it, you know, y'all have my blessing.
Thank you, Cassandra. This is what we do for each other. We show up and we show out. Not the bad show out, the good one. um, and it's something that's important, not only as a collective, right, but as family. And in all of these moments where people show up for us, I believe we really have to show gratitude and thanks to one another for being there for one another. And so I'm actually giving thanks to you, Cassandra, um, for allowing me to be able to be here for you, because it is a blessing. Um, I mentioned that my family is dealing with the loss of a family member, and it's a real difficult time. We're far from home, and trying to get there, and with timing and everything, it's it's a difficult time. But I'm going to read this Bible verse, and it's going to make sense. It's the first book of Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 18. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. We can look at our circumstances as struggle and adversity and a problem, issues, right, that plague us every day. Or we could look at it as a blessing, all of it. And I can tell you that after surviving a tornado, it was difficult for me, right? And I was looking up at the sky and asking God, why? Why? In our moments of weakness and in our moments of struggle and adversity, you may not be experiencing a natural disaster, but it may be your personal storm. And you may choose to ask, why? But since that day, and since the aftermath of that day, and looking in the eyes of my children and choosing to be a victor instead of a victim, I stopped asking why and started thanking God in the midst of literally picking up the pieces of what was my home. I chose to look at it as a blessing. And I may not have known what that blessing was exactly in that moment. And it wasn't until later that I realized what it was. My tornado, my tornado story could serve as a blueprint for others to be able to move through their adversity, their struggle, their personal storm. And it's, you know, a gentleman named Zion says it. He has a bunch of sayings that he's collected and said repeatedly. From your mess comes your message. From your test comes your testament or testimonial. Right. And so this is what I've gained from it. Um, I have a mentee who speaks to me occasionally about his issues and his struggles and his adversity. And I tell him exactly what I've said here. And I said, this could be your story. Your life is so rich, and it includes all these things that you've experienced, and imagine what you could bring to your loved ones and the people who depend on you. and 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 there was silence on the other side of the phone, and he comes back with, yeah, but can it just be regular sometimes? Can I just get a regular day sometimes? Because I've been hit too many times. And I said, I understand. Let let's revisit this, a few months from now. And sure enough, I held it in my pocket for a minute, and but later on another issue had come up, and he calls me, um and I talked to him, and he says, it's crazy. I know how to handle this now because of the previous time you and I spoke. And I said, uh-huh. There's your blessing. He said, yeah, thank you for that. And I held, and I took that little piece out of my pocket, and I said, see, there it is, your blessing. And so I'm going to end with that, and we'll go back to Eric here, um, to kind of go over maybe some closing thoughts.
Jay, I'm grateful and appreciative that you shared that. I felt like I needed to hear that this morning as well. And so thank you for sharing that. Brian, it's good to see you too, brother. I wrote down uh, grateful you're aware to be grateful. And I thought it was just beautiful how you said that, how poetic that was. Just grateful to be even aware that you're responsible for being grateful. Like, be grateful and appreciative for everything. So I appreciate you sharing that. And so I just wanted to highlight those two, Jay, because that's the spot I find myself in this morning. Just really just holding on to what I'm appreciative of and grateful for, um, and looking forward, and not trying to focus on um, those griefs, those challenges. So I throw it back to you, Jay.
Yeah. Thank you. You're right. Sometimes it really does hit you right between the eyes sometimes, right? Um, and having that awareness, having that mindfulness in the midst of struggle, you're still able to be thankful and be grateful for everything. And so, yeah, even in the midst of loss, we need to take time and be in that grace. So, how do we respond, right? How do we take care of our daily needs? Do we sit and and sulk in our sadness? Do we just kind of stay stuck, or do we look around and find gratitude in everything that we see, including that issue, that struggle, that adversity? Do we choose to be victors, or do we choose to be victims? Brian, what are your thoughts?
Man, there's so much I can say on gratitude. Uh, it's often overlooked. I say that. You know, we've got so much to be grateful for. You said it a few moments ago when you were picking up the pieces, literally picking up the pieces of your home, and you were looking at your family. That right there was a moment that you could have looked at it like, man, I can't believe we've lost all of this. But you chose to look at it like, man, I can't believe we're still here. Thank you. Right? In every single moment of your life, you have a choice to complain or to be thankful in everything. I'm sitting here right now, I'm looking at a picture of my daughter, and is when she first started school, man, I was I was so sad. I was because I had this plan that we were gonna homeschool her, and I had purchased some land. I had started building, putting a building together, and all of a sudden, pandemic hit, and money went sideways, and business went upside down, and the nation was in turmoil. I couldn't find anybody to teach. I couldn't go face to face and have any of these meetings about setting up the school. And when she first started in public school, I was a little sad, a lot sad. But I looked at her, and I was just saying thankful, being thankful, saying thank you to myself, saying thank you to my creator, because she is an intelligent, bright, witty, caring, loving, just an awesome child. And I knew she would do fine. I knew she would do fine in public school, right? I knew when I say public, I mean public. Like, she's not at home. If you're not at home, it's public. But she's fine. She's doing great, and she's got her friends. She's thankful every day. She says, "Dad, I'm so thankful to be alive." And if you're thankful, then your children see that, and then they become thankful. That sort of they have that sort of mentality to help take them through life. When you're thankful, it's almost as if everything you need comes your way the moment that you need it. You don't even have to be concerned about it. And I don't know if it's that you're attracting it, or if it's your perspective that makes it that way. But for me, I'll leave that for greater minds than mine. I'm just gonna focus on the fact that it happens, right? And that's all that I care about. That's why I'm so adamant about being grateful and having having the having the fortitude, the mental fortitude to continue to be grateful and humble for all of the things that I do have. So that's me, Jay. That's what I got. And it looks like we've got a few more people that step into the room. I'm just looking at it on LinkedIn. Somebody else step in?
I just want to repeat what you said, Brian, because I think it was profound. You attract and you see what you need when you have the mental fortitude to remain grateful. Brother, appreciate you.
That's real, bro. And even if it's not like that, Jay, even if it's not some cosmic spirit sending it your way, Eric, you still have to have that perspective that things are going your way. So even if it's something bad coming your way, you're still looking at it like, oh man, I can't lose. Right? There's that whole not having winning in your vocabulary. It's in your vocabulary. It's in your makeup. You just have to be grateful for everything, the good and the bad, because it's all working toward your good. Don't get me started, Jay. I'm gonna start preaching, man. Don't get me started.
That's okay. I don't mind it when you preach. I don't mind it when anybody preaches. Um, I listen. I was just hearing this song of a sitcom from many, many, many years ago stuck in my head. And some of you might know this. It's you take the good, you take the bad. And there you have the facts of life. The facts of life. Wow. Um I
Now you got
I
me
w-
reminiscing, Jay.
yeah, absolutely. Um but you know, as a Christian, in after the a- after the tornado, in asking the why, some of the things, some of the answers that came to me, looking at the message that came to me, one of the messages, was sometimes in order to stay mindful of what is important, things that aren't will fall to the wayside. And losing a car, losing a house, losing literally the clothes that you have, and all you've got is the clothes on your back, and then looking at my family, like you had mentioned, Brian, what came to me was I was so hard into my grind, into my hustle, that I forgot what I was hustling for. I forgot what I was grinding for. I forgot what I was working for. And being an entrepreneur and being a business person now, I always go back to that moment like, I hope not to let this get to my head. you know, um, somebody who's biblical that everybody um, may have heard in their Bible stories and Bible studies and sitting in pews at church, one of the wealthiest people in history fell from grace. And he worked back to grace because his grace and his blessings were immense. And so I worked my way back to grace. And in that, I was blessed beyond belief. My family was still there with me, my wife, my children, my in laws. And in this moment, I remember that. Going back to that question of why, my family and my faith was my why, continues to be my why. And from it, it actually became my mantra, mantra, however you pronounce it. And that mantra was, by your faith and your DNA, you got this. My faith in my God, my faith in humanity, my faith in myself, and the DNA, all the struggles and all the hurt and all the negativity and all the pain and all the adversity and all the issues that my family had endured for centuries led to the creation of me. By me being here, even after a tornado had struck my home many years ago. This, this right here is a blessing. The fact that I'm able to even have this discussion, this conversation, this talk with all of you in the audience. I'm grateful. And not be the greatest at everything. I may not be a great Christian. I've fallen many times, but I have many things to be grateful for. And I want to show my gratitude for me to my creator, even in the midst of loss. And so I'm thankful because of my blessings. And I want to show that. And that is why I read scripture. Now, I appreciate what Brian had said earlier about me reading scripture like I do, but I read it not just for the audience, but I read it for myself to gain my perspective, to gain my gratitude, to gain my blessings. And for those of you listening who may not be Christian, maybe it's just a time for you to meditate. Maybe it's a time to read that book that inspires you. For us as Christians, it's the Bible that inspires us, right? But what inspires you? My blessings, my children, my wife, my grandchildren, my family, my friends, the people who I've brought into my life, who I now call family. These are the things. And so I'm going to end with that. Um, and I'll just go one more time um, around to Eric first to say, uh, you know, goodbye and well, maybe not goodbye, but see you in a little bit again. My
Right.
mom always said it's never goodbye. It's
Never
just
goodbye.
until we see each other
See
again.
you later.
Yep. See you later. That's exactly what she said.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
exactly the words she used. It's not goodbye. It's see you later. Go ahead, brother.
Absolutely. Well, I'll continue in that same stream, and I'll leave you with my grandmother's words, which is, "This too shall pass." Whatever you're going through, whatever challenges or hardships may dominate the front of your mind this morning, understand that this too shall pass.
Absolutely. B, if you're available, you want to say a few words? You may not be available, but I thank you everybody for joining us again for the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. Thank you, Cassandra, for allowing us to show up for you and to be present in this moment. Um, you know, oh thank you, Lisa, for the kind words, profound shares by the men today. True examples of gratefulness. Thank you. Yeah, and we definitely are. We're not. Uh, it may sound a little somber sometimes when I speak, and it's because I want I want to share with people that even in the midst of issues and struggles and adversity, we are blessed, and there may be a message in that mess for for us, and that's the message I want to leave with everyone today as you traverse through the day. For those of us in the U.S. and um, it's the start of our day, and for those of you listening um, outside of the U.S., maybe it's evening and you're about ready to sleep. Thank you so much for being here and for being with us. And it looks like Cassandra's there. She may not be able to speak with us unless you want to. um, but she's on her way to a conference, and we thank her. There she is. Um, you know, thanks again, Cassandra. Um, let's all be grateful. Let's all be thankful. for the blessings and the adversity.
You did a wonderful job, like I knew you would. And Jay, I just wanted to tell you, you don't sound somber. You sound real. And realism is what we want to be about. If we showed up every day and every day was rainbows and unicorns, then we would lose the essence of why we show up. We want to make sure that people understand that in the midst of greatness, in the midst of defeat, in the midst of grief, in the midst of whatever is going on in your life, there's an opportunity to grab gratitude and allow it to help you to traverse that situation. So you're capable and you're deserving of all the good things that this life has to offer, but in having some of those things, your mindset is so, so very important. And gratitude is one of those things that can keep you grounded and focused on the things that are going to continue to attract goodness to you. And so that's why we show up. So please continue to share authentically and be transparent, because I think that that is what's drawing people to us, and that's where the the help is in showing that even in the midst of what all the things that are going on in life, there's a path forward, and on the other side is something better than where you began. So thank you guys so much for doing what you do every day and supporting me. And yep, my Uber driver's probably like, what the heck is going on? But I just wanted to come off and appreciate you guys for carrying on and doing it in such a profound way today. I appreciate you immensely.
The
Yeah.
Cassandra Terry show from the back of the Uber. Ladies and gentlemen, is she not the best? Is this not the best in the world? Are we not looking at her?
See, it it a few years ago, a TV show host would have said it live and direct.
Right, exactly.
Live and direct from the Uber. Oh gosh, that's great. That's awesome. Live TV. Um and and see, this is it. This is what I'm grateful for. This is what I'm thankful for. So, man, and I appreciate what you just said, Cassandra. It I really I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't see or hear the quote until that moment you said it. In daily life, we must see that it is not happiness that makes us grateful, but gratefulness that makes us happy.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, now my mind's blown. Oh, she dropped off. She dropped off, and
It
this is
was meant
live
to
feed.
be. It was
Yeah,
meant to be.
yep. There, she's coming back, and so I think we'll go ahead and end on that. And just wish everybody a good day here in the U.S. and everybody else whose day is coming to an end. Good evening to you. Good afternoon, wherever you are. Thanks again for joining us here at the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. And look at look at Cassandra showing up for us in the back of an Uber. It's great. All right, everybody. And so we're going to go ahead and close out today on that grateful note.
All
Take
right.
care.
Have a
Bye bye.
wonderful day, everybody. Bye bye.